At this time, we're going to turn to our action items, and tonight, as if you are an avid board follower, you will know that we have been working and talking with some of our teachers who have been contacting us about.
Should have internet on.
What is that? Oh, I thought it was over the intercom. About supporting them in some of their efforts down at the State House. And the board has put together a resolution, and I'm going to call on Ms. Anne Marie Green to read this resolution out loud to support the teachers. And then, board, I'm going to put a motion on the floor, and we're going to discuss it, and we'll vote on it if y'all are okay with that.
And it just occurred to me that reading this is karma for me trying to get Kyle to read that motion a second time, because this is pretty long. So just stick with me. It's worth it. Okay, this is the Lexington County School District 1 resolution supporting teachers. Whereas the vision of Lexington County School District 1 is to empower each child to design the future, and whereas the success of more than 26,800 students in Lexington County District 1 depends on the skills, knowledge, positive influence, and leadership of dedicated teachers who work collaboratively with school board members, administrators, colleagues, parents, families, community members, and others to prepare students to live, work, and succeed. And whereas the Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees is extremely proud of the 2,092 certified personnel and 1,302 instructional support personnel who have consistently delivered an excellent education to all students, early childhood through adulthood, within our 30 schools, alternative educational services program, and adult education. And whereas teachers are agents of the future who motivate, inspire, and mold tomorrow's community, business, and political leaders. And whereas teachers are an indispensable component of the high-quality public education system necessary to develop a competitive workforce that will drive a vibrant South Carolina economy for decades to come. And whereas teachers are duly licensed professionals possessing technical and professional expertise and receiving frequent and rigorous ongoing training and education, often at their own expense, to improve and hone their craft. And whereas every student deserves to have a highly qualified teacher who provides a safe and nurturing classroom environment where they can learn and grow. And whereas the base salary gap between teachers in South Carolina and teachers across the nation, as well as the salary gap between South Carolina's starting teacher salaries and the starting salaries offered by other professions requiring equivalent levels of higher education, continue to be significant factors in teachers leaving the classroom or never choosing the teaching profession as a career in college, both of which impact the growing teacher shortage. And whereas teachers are entitled to a salary commensurate with their education and experience that enables them to meet the cost of living, therefore be it resolved that the Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees recognizes that teaching is a noble and respected profession and that our teachers are intellectual leaders in our community. And be it further resolved that the Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees strongly supports our teachers and their efforts to increase the South Carolina average teacher salary to a nationally competitive level that encourages those with experience to stay in the classroom and makes teaching an appealing career option for college students and career changers. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be furnished to State Superintendent Molly Spearman and the members of the Lexington County Legislative Delegation, and that information about this resolution be communicated to Lexington County School District 1 students, parents, community leaders, businesses, and other school supporters. Approved by the Lexington County School District 1 Board of Trustees at its February 19th, 2019 board meeting.
Let's go ahead and get a motion on the floor, and then we'll open up discussion. Do I hear a motion to approve a resolution that supports teachers as presented by Ms. Anne Marie Green?
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the resolution supporting teachers as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Powers, and thank you, Mr. Oswald. Well, Board, now that you've heard it and you've had a chance to review it, are there any questions or comments? I know that we've we had a group of teachers approach us, I believe in December, who asked us to support them and to show something physical and tangible in our support of them. And we've, Miss Green volunteered, and she's really worked hard on that. And so that's kind of how we started driving that. Are there any questions or comments, Board?
My comments for the audience. So obviously our delegation will be voting and making decisions around this with our state budget. So I'd encourage each of you to reach out to your state delegates and communicate to them, because obviously a mandate to increase teacher salaries without the concomitant funding hurts us in Lexington District 1, because, I mean, we need the funding from the state or federal government to fund. If we get the mandate without the funding, then we either have to change class sizes or we have to raise taxes, because that's our levers as a county school board. So please share that with your delegation and encourage them to vote accordingly.
Any other questions?
And I'd just like to add, I mean, a good portion of this resolution, I mean, the objective is to show our support for improved teacher pay, because that's such an important issue, and it's such a hot topic right now in our state. That conversation is getting stolen a little bit by some other issues that I think some leaders are using to distract from the teacher pay conversation. And I follow a lot of the discussions online about this, and honestly, I feel like some of our state leaders are pretty disrespectful to teachers. And one of the things that we want to do through this is to, in fact, I posted on somebody's, one of our representatives' pages this afternoon. I just felt like he was just explaining kind of the position of some of the folks that are advocating for a certain bill that's going around right now. And I thought it was a little condescending and a little, seemed to indicate that he knew more about what teachers do than teachers actually know. And I just encouraged him to make sure that in what he says and does, that he uplifts and amplifies our teachers. Because that's what, I mean, the pay is really important, but the respect, you know, I mean, when I was growing up, teachers were a highly respected profession. And I think that we've lost that. And I want my children to want to be teachers. Some of the smartest, best people I know have chosen the mission field of teaching. And I think that we need to make sure that that's communicated. So,
any other comments, Board?
I would sort of echo that, in that medicine and education are actually kind of parallel tracks. We call it the practice of medicine. We don't call it the perfection of medicine. Just like it's the practice of teaching, it's not the perfection of teaching. Although we all strive to be perfect, but it's very difficult to hone your craft when you're unfortunately on a sometimes a starving artist's salary. And so, as you've kind of seen throughout the process with our zoning, you know, voices will be heard. And so exactly what Vice Chair Green is talking about, getting in front of legislators, letting your voice kind of be heard, it still can make a difference with when they actually sit around and make these decisions. So I will certainly urge any and all parties to do such.
and I'm going to add one more thing, I'm sorry, but if you do contact your legislators, what really works is personal testimonies and personal stories. And so contact them and say, you know, my child has the most amazing teacher. And just give examples of what that teacher does that isn't in their job description. That same field trip that I went on today, it was to the Lexington County Museum, and then they went to Chick-fil-A. And I watched one of the teachers that was on that trip very quietly and without any fanfare or wanting attention, purchased the lunch for 3 students that couldn't buy their own lunch. And she did it with her own funds. And teachers do that every single day, day in and day out. And they don't do it for recognition or accolades or a pat on the back. They do it because they love the students. And so we just need to keep that in mind and push those stories forward, and don't let the narrative on this important issue be hijacked by things that are not going to fix our education system and are not going to make it better, because our teachers will make it better if they have the support and the salary that they deserve. So, okay.
Well, I think that segues perfectly into what I wanted to say. Dr. Little and Ms. Green have been going down to the State House, and they have been telling the story of Lexington One. They've been talking about what our teachers do in the classroom, what our students experience, and what our expectations are. And we're really trying to work with our delegation on that big educational bill that I know you all know about. It's been on the front page of the paper. It's been in the lead story on the local news channels. But I appreciate them going down and telling our story and letting these legislators understand how important education is and how important our teachers are, and that we are here to speak up for them. So thank y'all for doing that. Anything else, board?
Well, I'd just like to add that we're talking about salary and teachers, but you really sit down and talk to teachers, you hear the passion they have for what they do. They don't bring up salary, although we know that's a real difficult thing for them to start below the poverty line in a salary. Just think about that. But everybody sitting up here, probably everybody sitting in this room, can list a number of people that affected your life, that changed your life, and 9 times out of 10, you're talking about a teacher. So this is a very important thing that we do, and we've got to support this for our children's sake.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. Anybody else? Okay, if there's no more discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor of the resolution as presented by Ms. Green, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries, and it is unanimous. And thank you again, Ms. Green, for all that work. Okay, at this time, we'll now go to 11.2, which are student travel requests. Dr. Talley presented the student travel request in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve 7 student travel requests as presented?
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the 7 student travel requests as recommended by the district office.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Powers. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Oswald. Are there any questions or comments regarding those 7 student travel requests? Other than, can you go along? No, hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries, and those 7 student travel requests are approved.